Imagine discovering a simple 5-cent Jefferson nickel that's secretly worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. These ultra-rare nickels, from full steps rarities to insane mint errors, turn pocket change into treasure, and the top 10 most valuable ones are shocking pieces of history hiding in plain sight. This coin is one of those hidden treasures that people overlook every day, even though the rare versions can bring life-changing money. So stay to the very end, because once you hear about the shocking values connected to this small Denver minted nickel, you will want to check every single one you own. You might even want to start searching rolls of nickels, because the rarest 1953D examples are so valuable that collectors still talk about them with disbelief. The 1953D Jefferson nickel was made at the Denver Mint during a time when the United States was growing fast after World War II and the Korean War. The economy was strong, people were spending money, and the mint was producing millions of coins to keep up. In 1953, Denver made more than 59 million nickels. That is a big number, so most regular, worn nickels from that year are very common. You can find them in pocket change, in old jars, in boxes of coins from grandparents, or even in rolls from the bank. But here is the part that turns this simple coin into a treasure hunt. Almost all of these nickels were used a lot, spent, dropped, scraped, rubbed, and damaged. The metal blend used for the nickel is soft, so the coins lost details very quickly. That means only a very small number survived in beautiful condition. And the Denver Mint had striking problems that year, meaning the steps on Monticello on the back of the coin were often weak and blurry. That makes sharp, high-quality coins extremely rare today. Even though millions were made, the rare versions are some of the hardest in the whole Jefferson nickel series. Collectors mainly look for three kinds of special 1953D nickels: extremely high-grade coins, coins with the rare, full steps, detail, and dramatic mint errors. These are the categories where the value explodes from a few dollars into thousands or more. Most 1953D nickels in nice condition are worth only a few bucks. But the very best high-grade coins are incredibly hard to find because of how poorly most were struck and how many were used in daily life. A normal MS-65 coin might sell for around $40 to $80. An MS-66 might bring a little more, sometimes $100 or $200. But when you reach MS-67, the value jumps into the thousands. A true MS-67 example can sell for $1,000 to $4,000 or more. And here is the exciting part: if a collector ever finds an MS-67 Plus or the almost impossible MS-68, the price could explode well above $10,000, maybe even $20,000. These coins are rare because only a tiny number survived in this condition. It is like finding a coin that somehow stayed clean and perfect for more than 70 years. But the biggest money in the 1953D Jefferson nickel world belongs to coins with full steps. When you look at the back of the nickel, there are steps on the Monticello building. For a coin to be called full steps, those steps must be fully visible, sharp, and not worn down or smashed together. The problem is that Denver struck most of these nickels poorly in 1953. The steps almost always look soft or flat. That means full steps examples are extremely rare, so rare that some collectors go their whole lives without seeing one in person. If you find a 1953D nickel with full steps, even a medium-grade coin like MS-65FS can sell for more than $1,000 to $3,000. An MS-66FS can go for $4,000 to $10,000. But the truly incredible ones are the MS-67 full steps coins. These are ultra-rare. Only a tiny number exist, and when they appear, they can sell for $15,000 to $30,000 or more. And here's where things get unbelievable: if anyone ever discovers a MS-67 Plus FS or an MS-68 FS, that coin could break records. It could sell for $50,000, maybe even $100,000 or more. Yes, that is how rare these full steps nickels are. The difference between a normal nickel and a massive treasure is often just a few clean lines on the steps. Now let's talk about the part of coin collecting that gets everyone excited: errors. The Denver Mint in the early 1950s was known for producing some wild mistakes. Machines would misstrike coins, feed blanks incorrectly, or press designs onto the wrong metal. These error coins can bring huge value. An off-center strike, where part of the coin is missing because it wasn't lined up right, can sell for $200 to $1,500 depending on how far off-center it is. Extreme off-centers can sell for even more, sometimes above $2,000. Doubled dies, where parts of the design appear doubled, can also bring serious money. But the biggest money in the 1953 D. Jefferson nickel world belongs to coins with full steps. When you look at the back of the nickel, there are steps on the Monticello building. For a coin to be called full steps, those steps must be fully visible, sharp, and not worn down or smashed together. The problem is that Denver struck most of these nickels poorly in 1953. The steps almost always look soft or flat. That means full steps examples are extremely rare, so rare that some collectors go their whole lives without seeing one in person. If you find a 1953 D nickel with full steps, even a medium-grade coin like MS-65FS can sell for more than $1,000 to $3,000. An MS-66FS can go for $4,000 to $10,000. But the truly incredible ones are the MS-67 full steps coins. These are ultra-rare. Only a tiny number exist, and when they appear, they can sell for $15,000 to $30,000 or more. And here's where things get unbelievable. If anyone ever discovers a MS-67 Plus FS or an MS-68 FS, that coin could break records. It could sell for $50,000, maybe even $100,000 or more. Yes, that is how rare these full steps nickels are. The difference between a normal nickel and a massive treasure is often just a few clean lines on the steps. Now let's talk about the part of coin collecting that gets everyone excited, errors. The Denver Mint in the early 1950s was known for producing some wild mistakes. Machines would misstrike coins, feed blanks incorrectly, or press designs onto the wrong metal. These error coins can bring huge value. An off-center strike, where part of the coin is missing because it wasn't lined up right, can sell for $200 to $1,500 depending on how far off-center it is. Extreme off-centers can sell for even more, sometimes above $2,000. Doubled dies, where parts of the design appear doubled, can also bring serious money. The moment collectors hear 1962 D, many perk up, because while most are common, the rare ones are shockingly valuable. People overlook this coin every day, but the secret is that certain high-grade and error pieces from this year are among the most desirable in the entire modern Jefferson nickel series. The thrill comes from knowing that a tiny detail, a special strike, or a mint mistake can take this everyday coin from pocket change to treasure-level value. The 1962 D nickel was made at the Denver Mint during a time of massive coin production because the U.S. economy was growing, and demand for currency was rising. Over 280 million nickels were struck, so regular worn examples are very common. Most were used in daily life, rubbing against other coins, dropping into machines, and getting scratched and worn. This heavy use is exactly why the rare high-quality ones are so valuable today. Despite the huge mintage, only a very small number survived in top condition, and even fewer were struck sharply enough to show the details collectors crave. One of the biggest value boosters is high grade. Most 1962 D nickels in circulation today are dull, worn, or scratched. But incredibly clean, well-struck coins, especially mint state examples graded MS-66 or MS-67, are rare. A normal MS-65 coin might only bring $50. MS-66 can jump into the $100 to $200 range. But once a coin hits MS-67, the value begins to explode, ranging from $1,000 to several $1,000s depending on the sharpness and luster. And if a true MS-67 Plus or MS-68 1962 D ever appears, the value could skyrocket into the five-figure range, $10,000, $20,000, or even more, because these grades are almost impossible to find for this date. The next major prize category is full steps, often called FS. This refers to the steps on Monticello being struck clearly without breaks or weakness. The Denver Mint had strike problems in the 1960s, so full steps coins from these years are extremely hard to locate. A regular 1962 D nickel with full steps can already be worth hundreds. Higher grade FS coins are worth thousands. MS-66 FS pieces can reach $2,000 to $5,000. MS-67 FS examples are extremely rare and can go for $10,000 to $25,000 or more. And if a collector ever discovers an MS-67 Plus FS or MS-68 FS, the value could shoot to $50,000 or perhaps even $100,000. That's how rare perfectly struck 1962 D nickels are. But the most exciting part of this coin's value comes from dramatic mint errors. The Denver Mint in the early 60s produced some wild mistakes, off-centers, double strikes, clipped planchets, and extremely rare wrong metal strikes. Off-center errors can bring $200 to $1,000, depending on how large the shift is. Double strikes or rotated strikes can go for several thousand. However, the true monsters are wrong planchet strikes. If a 1962 D nickel was accidentally struck on a dime planchet, a foreign blank, or another unexpected metal, it could be worth $20,000 to $50,000. A major, unique, dramatic error could even push into six-figure territory. The 1962 D Jefferson nickel is proof that treasure is still hidden in the simplest places. A tiny detail, a special strike, or a rare error can turn a 5-cent coin into something worth more than a car, more than a vacation, or even more than some people make in a year. This is the thrilling part about the 1990 D nickel. Almost all of them are common, but the rare ones are unbelievably valuable. A tiny detail, a perfect strike, or a wild mint mistake can transform this everyday coin into a treasure that collectors chase with excitement. The 1990 D Jefferson nickel was made at the Denver Mint during a time of huge coin production. More than 1.1 billion nickels were created, making it one of the most common modern nickels. Because of this massive mintage, most 1990 D nickels are worth face value. They were made quickly, moved through machines, and spent in everyday life, which means they often have scratches, dull areas, or weak strikes. But despite the huge numbers, the Denver Mint is known for some of the best hidden modern errors and some extremely high-grade survivors. These rare pieces are what bring the big money. High-grade examples are the first category that can boost the value into shocking numbers. Most nickels from this year grade poorly because of marks from the minting process. A normal uncirculated 1990 D nickel might grade MS-63 or MS-64 and be worth only a few dollars. But once the grade hits MS-66 or MS-67, the coin becomes noticeably rare. MS-66 coins can bring $40 to $100, while MS-67 coins can reach $200 to $600. But the truly unbelievable values start when a coin hits MS-68. These are extremely rare, and only a tiny handful have ever been seen. A true MS-68 example can be worth $3,000 to $10,000. And if a perfect MS-69 1990 D nickel ever appears, it could bring tens of thousands, possibly over $50,000, because modern coins almost never reach perfection. Another category that brings massive excitement is the full steps, or FS. These are coins where the steps on Monticello are fully visible, sharply struck, and without breaks. Even though this is a modern coin, full step strikes are surprisingly tough to find in perfect condition because of the speed and pressure of modern minting. A 1990 D nickel with full steps can start at $100 to $300, even in moderate mint condition. Higher grade FS pieces in MS-66 or MS-67 can jump to $500 to $1,500. If anyone ever finds a MS-68 full steps 1990 D nickel, that coin could skyrocket to $10,000, $20,000, or even more. A perfect MS-68 Plus or MS-69 FS could break price records and reach $50,000 to $100,000 because it would be nearly one of a kind. But the category that brings the biggest money, and the most excitement, is major mint errors. The Denver Mint is known for some dramatic mistakes, especially in modern years. Off-center errors are worth $100 to $500 depending on how far the design is shifted. Double-struck coins or rotated dies can easily reach $500 to $2,000. Clipped planchets, broad strikes, and multiple strikes can climb into the thousands. But the rarest and most valuable are wrong planchet errors. If a 1990 D nickel was struck on a dime planchet, a foreign planchet, or the wrong metal, the value could soar into $10,000 to $30,000. A major, dramatic, unique error could even push the value into six-figure territory, making it worth over $100,000. Even though the 1990 D Jefferson nickel is a modern coin made in huge numbers, the rare version's perfect grades, full steps, and extreme errors make it one of the most exciting hidden gems in modern coin collecting. The thrill of the 1970 nickel comes from the fact that almost everyone has seen one, but almost no one realizes that certain versions from this year can be worth more than a gold bar if they have the right striking quality or a dramatic mint mistake. This is the kind of coin that turns regular pocket change into a collector's dream, and that excitement is exactly what pulls people into searching every nickel they come across. The 1970 Jefferson nickel was minted during a time when coin production in the United States was booming. The mint produced hundreds of millions of nickels that year, and because of that, most 1970 nickels you see today are extremely common. They were used heavily, dropped into machines, carried in pockets, and eventually worn down. The metal alloy used for these nickels also scratches easily, so high-quality, sharply struck examples are hard to find. Even though the coin itself is not rare, the rare versions, those with perfect detail or shocking mint errors, are where the big money exists. One of the biggest value boosters is high grade. Most 1970 nickels grade poorly because they received many tiny marks during the minting process. A typical uncirculated piece might grade MS-63 or MS-64 and be worth only a few dollars. But once a coin reaches MS-66 or MS-67, the rarity increases sharply. MS-66 pieces can sometimes sell for around $40 to $100. MS-67 examples jump into the $150 to $400 range. But the dream level for this coin is MS-68, and that is where the value explodes. A true MS-68 1970 Jefferson nickel can bring $1,000, $2,000, or even over $5,000, depending on eye appeal and strike sharpness. And if an MS-68 Plus or MS-69 example is ever discovered for this year, the value could skyrocket into $20,000, $30,000, or even more, because perfect modern nickels are nearly impossible to find. Full steps, or FS, is another category that brings major excitement. These are coins where the steps on Monticello are clear, sharp, and fully struck, something that did not happen often in 1970, because the mint was pushing production at high speed. Weak strikes were very common that year. A 1970 nickel with full steps automatically becomes valuable. Even a mid-grade FS can bring $100 to $300. Higher grades, such as MS-66 FS or MS-67 FS, can go for $500 to $2,000. And if anyone ever discovers an MS-68 FS, the price could jump into $10,000 to $25,000 or more. A nearly perfect full steps example could be worth $50,000 to $100,000, because the condition would be so rare it would almost be a once-in-a-lifetime find. But the category that truly brings the most dramatic values is major mint errors. The United States Mint in the late 1960s and early 1970s produced some famous mistakes, and rare 1970 nickel errors are highly prized by collectors. Off-center strikes can bring $100 to $500. Double-struck coins or rotated die strikes can sell for $500 to $2,000. Clipped planchets, broad strikes, or multiple strikes can reach $1,000 to $5,000. The highest value category is wrong planchet errors, coins struck on metal meant for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. A 1970 nickel struck on a dime planchet, for example, could be worth $10,000 to $30,000. A major dramatic error, especially one never seen before, could even reach six figures, making it worth over $100,000.